Smaran Mallesh. His source material is Elective. It's on page 73 of the document.
I'll make this quick. I've chosen this subject elective that comes in the 4th year. So simply put, the objective of the course is to expose students to specialized areas of architecture. To me, specialized areas of architecture would mean architectural issues. These don't have to be new, they could be traditional in nature. And what I am simply proposing is to expose students to specialists in architecture. What I'm really talking about is architects who actually base their entire oeuvre of work or a lifetime of work on actually practicing certain issues in architecture. So if I have to read this out, each year an established practitioner of architecture of national repute is invited to the school as the VTU Distinguished Professor in Architecture in order to conduct a series of seminars with the students. The purpose of these seminars is to ground the students in the overview of the distinguished professor's work, explain his or her motivations, and give the specifics of one project from conception to construction. The goal of this course is to prepare the students for these visits, while the specifics of this course change from year to year in order to reflect on the career of the current professor. Some aspects remain constant. That is, through a combination of analysis, reading, and discussion, the course intends for the students to understand the disciplinary context of each distinguished professor's oeuvre, with a sustained attention devoted to the key projects in order to understand the conceptual, formal, and practical specifics of architectural production. So what I really mean by this is that there are three sets of people that I'm talking about. There's the students, there's the faculty who represent the school, and there's the distinguished practicing architects. As far as the students are concerned, I was there 10 years ago, and I get to interact with them on a timely basis, both in office in terms of interns who come and the occasional teaching I do. But what I really see missing in students is this whole idea of critical thinking. I feel mentally the course doesn't allow them to have a critical apparatus in mind that helps them kind of deconstruct what they see, develop ideas. I feel that there is no in-depth understanding of any one particular aspect of architecture. The entire course is set up in such a way that they skim through most of the material as this syllabus or content that they need to lay their hands on. And this is something Prem also was mentioning outside, that it's not important as to what the course should be about, but it actually has to do with pedagogy and the content that goes into it. And that is where I think having an elective which is about the study of a distinguished practicing architect solves a lot of problems. A distinguished practicing architect, in a certain sense, would be an institution of knowledge. There is a body of work that he would represent. There are certain issues that he or she and the office that he is part of has deliberated over a period of time, which really becomes this syllabus that a faculty can easily tap on. I think each practicing architect with a successful body of work would invariably deal with certain architectural issues that they were concerned with, which means that as a faculty, if you're interested in a certain issue, you could easily tap into that and use them really as a crutch to teach what you want. As far as the distinguished architects are concerned, I think they really want to give back to academia, but then they don't have the time to come and teach every week, so there is this issue of lack of time. And they do understand that they could, and I think there is also a need or a heartfelt desire for them to give back to academia. So I'm going to try and tie these three things together by proposing this. So it's a 12-week elective that I'm looking at. The distinguished professor comes in only 3 times in 1 year, in 1 semester. The first week starts with a lecture. It could be an open house. This could be for the entire department, where the distinguished professor comes and shows them their work. So it's something that will engage the entire department. Week 2 is going to be, so essentially the elective is divided into 2 parts. There are seminars and there are sessions. Every week there is a seminar with the faculty, and when the distinguished professor comes in, it's going to be a session. So we have a session in week 1, and week 2 is an introduction class, which is just a seminar. Each student would be given 1 project of the professor, and the course or the elective for the remaining semester would be introduced. Week 3 would be research and collection of data on the particular project that's given to you. So this would be research. Week 4, 5, and 6 would really set up the critical apparatus that I'm talking about. Week 4 would be understanding concepts, diagrams, sketches, and this is going to be supported with a paper which is about 500 words. This is important for not only what Bijoy was mentioning in terms of writing something is a commitment you would make to to what you think, and it would be in a sense a simulation of ideas. But it also becomes a tool to assess the student, which is important, because I don't also look at the exam as the perfect assessing model. So there is a supporting paper after you kind of dissect or critically analyze concepts, diagrams, and sketches. Week 5 would be the same with drawings. These could be working drawings, this could be presentation drawings with a supporting paper. Week 6 would again get into form and space, analysis of the same, supported with the paper. Week 7 would be more about materials and details, and again supported with another paper. And week 8 would be a session where the professor comes down and they get to kind of interact with him. This would probably be a day-long event where the students can then sit with the professor and have a discussion about all the issues that they've gone through in the past 4 weeks, but also get a chance to discuss what they've been deliberating upon or analyzing in the past 4 weeks pertaining to their own building. And I was lucky enough to do something like this as part of my master's course in the US, where we had to do this with Peter Eisenman, and all of us were given a building. We went through the grind, we analyzed every word he had written, every line he had drawn, and then we are sitting in this room with Peter Eisenman, and we were bombarding him with all these questions. And finally he shrugged and he said, "This almost feels like I'm sitting in a room with all the shrinks I've ever met in my life." So it's a really, I think it would be a really intense experience to actually kind of cross-check your analysis with the person who's actually made the real thing, and so it would validate the whole process. Week 9 would be a consolidated paper with about 2,000 words, which would kind of summarize everything that's been done in the past 3 to 4 weeks. Week 10 and week 11 are basically working towards an exhibition that I'm proposing as the final culmination of the studio. I think this is important to actually stage all your efforts in a curated form, in the form of an exhibition, and showcase what you've done to the entire department. So there is another level of seriousness. It could also be a good way to graphically represent everything that you've been thinking about doing, and a culmination of everything that you've done in the past 4 weeks. And this would be the last visit for the professor. So the question becomes who these distinguished professors are. I was hoping there'll be some in the room. There are a few, but I think there are a lot more outside, both in the city and across the state and in the country. So my idea of elective is to bring together students, faculty, and practicing architects who represent a lot of issues and architectural thought as institutions of architecture. Thank you.